Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 52 of the Sickcast, aka the Siblings in Cardboard podcast. I'm your host, Thomas, joined by my buddies / co-hosts, Noah and Justin. Whether you're a veteran card gamer or a first time just testing the waters, we're all siblings in cardboard. Guys, what have you been up to since the last podcast?
Rated some World of Warcraft, not exactly flesh and blood related, but one of the card guys was there, so it kind of counts, right? I mean, every once in a while we squeak in some Runeblade conversations, but majority of the times it's DPS and bosses. But no, I was sick over the pre-release, so I just caught the show match between card guys and Blue Pitch. Watched a little bit about the new Runeblade, some fun decks. Watched a little bit of last night of a Hot Streak Centauri Sabers Dorinthia. Mr. Don't make that face. It's real. Let's be real about this. Unsheathed, it targets swords. We gotta look. Us Dory simps, we gotta figure it out one way or another, right? Like
we're committed to Dory. That's why we're doing this.
We gotta figure this out, man. We want to play the hero. Like we got nothing better to do. Other than that, though, same old.
All right. We have a new hero in town that has a great sword. Play her instead.
I mean, it's a really good sword. Don't get me wrong. I got it in cold foil.
Oh, me too. But did the pre-release. I did one pre-release last weekend. Thomas, I think you were there. You were there as well, definitely. And I don't know. I opened another Florian pool. I wanted to play Lightning, but because I had a bunch of Lightning cards. I had like 7 or 8 red Lightning cards, but 3 of them were Flittering Charge. And my entire Lightning pool had 2 instants total. No Sigils of Lightning. So I was like, I tried to think about different ways to try to make Aurora work with that pool and just couldn't. So we played Florian and we did fine. We had a good time.
I didn't play a single game of Acilio during the world premiere, so I went into pre-release weekend saying, I'm just going to force Acilio. As long as I have like 3 sigils, I'll do it. And I did it. Friday was okay. Saturday I got beat up a lot.
Yeah, Acilio's like I don't even want to try to put Acilio together in sealed. Draft, he's been awesome, but like I don't want to even try to envision how that deck looks in sealed.
Like your stuff is really cool when you do it, but you only get to do it like 3 times. That's just not enough to close the game versus the Earth Heroes. You get to go like lightning card, lightning card, lightning card, spell for 6, right? And that's actually like really good if you could do it 5 times in a game. But you could usually only pull it off like 3 times, and then you're either out of life and you're having to block, or you just start missing it. Like you don't have the spell, or you don't have the go again. Because he doesn't have a good way to get go again in his deck at all.
Yeah.
So, but he is really fun.
Do you guys have any like particular high moments or like this like really good pulls, I guess, or like super good turn sequencing? I know it's a little different for Florian in terms of, I mean, did you make 14 rune chance and blow somebody's home up? But
I did not terminate anybody this time. No. I did do a Verdant Mirror where they pitched a red 4 seasons, where the strength of the 4 seasons or whatever. And like I knew it was that turn, so I like stacked my turn going right into it to make sure that like when he had that card in his hand, he would have to block with it or die.
Mm-hmm.
And you just see the guy like raging, or not raging. He was just like upset. And he was like trying to tank through the lines on like how he could save that card. And I just kind of like gave him a heads up. I was like, yeah, the 4 seasons is the 3rd card in your hand. And he's like, yeah, it's the 3rd card in my hand.
it's like I'm watching that pitch, sir.
Because it was the only red that he had pitched the whole time. So I was like, okay, this is his win con.
I actually brought my daughter to both of the pre-releases, and our Friday pulls were sweet. It's not like they were really powerful decks. Even though she did get to do a turn where I think she threw 12 rune chants in a single turn. So
that's pretty sweet.
I mean, she had Germinate. She got to do like a 8-pitch Germinate the previous turn with Florian Power on, and then got to do an Arcane Seeds the next turn, and then swing and attack.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. We like that.
Broken.
Everybody likes that.
Did she play Florian both weekends?
Yeah, she forced Florian. I forced Cecilia. That's how it went. Let's see. she pulled a Marvel Young Verdants, and I pulled the
Nice.
extended art Gone and Flash and the cold foil art insert. So those were pretty
okay.
cool. I like
No,
that cold foil art
congratulations.
insert. I hope they do that on every set now. It's so cool because like, you know, you can get those binders where you slide the card in the side. Now you have swag for that. So
That's kind of cool.
or like you
I
could
know.
just kind of show off and have a cold foil art insert be your entire first page for your rares of that set.
That
That'd be
would
cool.
be neat, and I could see people doing that. I could see myself doing that.
I'm a big fan of the Gone in a Flash. It looks really, really nice.
Yeah, extended arts, dude.
The foiling on it.
Yeah, they keep just upgrading the art.
And how there's not? Is there an EA Earth Majestic?
Yeah.
Which one?
Millennium Trees, EA.
No, because
This-
Lightning Valley is also EA. I was thinking like Felling or Plow Through.
Yeah, not that I'm aware.
I would have to look.
I don't know though.
Interesting.
I haven't
I don't
seen
remember
it if
anybody.
it is. I know
Yeah.
that the RF Felling the Crowns are really expensive.
Oh, don't remind me. I have to buy those.
Yeah, me too, because Annalie wants to play. The daughter wants to play Florian if she's going to play with me.
Well, we'll talk about Florian
They're
later,
so
but
expensive.
yeah, that's yeah. There's a lot there. It's okay though.
All right.
So yeah,
Are they expensive?
Yeah.
but I haven't pulled anything incredible in any world premiere, calling, Tampa pre-releases. It's just been like very medium hits across the board. Like Destructive Aether Tide, I think is the best card that I've pulled, which is like a good card, but it's nothing like.
I think I got
I'm not
3
right.
Destructive Aether Tides across all of my cards.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of those.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Is that a Majestic?
It is.
It is. It's
Yeah.
Zap and See. Zap and Conquer.
Oh,
Zap and
that's the one
Conquer.
that Zap
Yeah.
and Conquer.
Yeah.
That's the one that hits the arsenal if it surges.
Yeah.
I didn't actually
Fair.
like that card that much in limited.
Oh no,
It
it's not a
doesn't feel
limited
as
card.
good in limited, especially because there's plenty of instants and stuff that people can tuck in there.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like, I don't know if you guys played with, and I mean some of them are better than others, but like tongue tied hand behind the pin, and what was the other one, tied up?
Mhm.
Or the one that
No, smash something.
smash up. The 5 attack 2 block that hits attack action, the 6 that hits the non-attack, and the one that hits the instant.
Tongue tied.
Mhm.
It always felt like it was really rough. Like, which one do I put in? Which one do I think my opponent has in their arsenal, kind of a thing? And like sometimes you hit it right, and sometimes you don't, and they're just like, okay,
Always the 1 for 5. Right?
whatever.
That's the good one.
The 1 for 5 felt the greatest because I think most of the aggro heroes kind of want to tuck an attack action, but every once in a while you just like catch people throwing an instant in there because it's something to get out just easy. If you really thought you wanted to play around somebody who knew how to plow under or something like that. But yeah.
So
all in all,
leading into Rosetta, we're talking about the price of Felling the Crown, but I just think Runeblade stuff in general is like really crazy.
most of the stuff in general right now is actually pretty crazy. Speaking of which, it's still, well, I wouldn't say it's at astronomical values. Some of this stuff is at astronomical values, but I mean, I've seen crazier spikes. Dyadic Carapace though, which I believe is still ridiculously expensive, just to call homage to that, because it's going to be one of the crowning chess pieces that most Runeblades are going to play. It's still sitting at $60 for the rainbow foil, which is crazy. But it's not $88 crazy that it was not too long ago. So definitely still think you need to pick that up if you haven't picked one up yet, because ProQuest season is around the corner, and it's only a matter of time before people start buying them up if these heroes have play into the meta. But just to run through some of these cards really quick, and I won't read them all in terms of, I'll just tell you what set they come from. But Swarming Gloomveil is the first one on the list. It is Runeblade. It is $30 a card almost. It's $28.50. Those are for the normals. The rainbow foils seem to be around the same price. I'd say 30 plus for rainbow foils. Those are out of Everfest, which I know I've told everybody about 400 times, and I'll still continue to say it because I think the set still hasn't hit its peak.
That's the GOAT.
It's really good.
That set's so good. It's
GOAT. It's the best set ever.
Listen, Blood on Her Hands comes from that set. Because does everybody remember how much Blood on Her Hands was when Kasai was actually relevant for like a very short period of time? It was pretty ridiculous how far it shot up. Swing Bigs.
This set was
Take
so
them out of
good.
Yeah, like
Bangers only.
Scour, Runeblood Incantation, Shimmers, Revel and Runeblood, Battering
all
Bolt,
the
Techno
zero cost
Pounder, Rain
auras.
Razor, Passing Mirage.
Yeah, like all
Set's
the zero
wild.
cost illusionist auras, just like staples in every class. It may not be, I said the best set, it's the strongest set. That set was so ridiculously, like card for card, just the strongest set.
This round's on me.
Yeah.
Macho Grande came out in that set too, right?
Yep.
And
Blue Macho.
Thunderquake and Pulverize.
Mopple, Mask of the Pouncing Links, Winds of
Yeah,
Eternity,
Links came out.
Blade Runner.
Yep.
Wow. This set
Bangers
was,
only. Like
it was
common, rare, it doesn't matter.
I have noticed that like if I just get a pack at Everfest, I'm like, well, that's playable. That's playable. That's playable. Man, read the glide path. Either Wildfire came out in Everfest.
Yeah. Your legendaries were Silver Palms was the miss. You had the Stalagmite in that set, and you had the non-foil Skull Cap. Right?
Which isn't necessarily a miss anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah, now that's a hit.
And the prices on those have fallen down a little bit from like their initial spike, but people are going to be holding on to and should be holding on to Arcanite Skull Caps in both Everfest 4-man and Rainbow Foil for the inevitable completion of the Arcanite set. I
We're
wanted
gonna
to
get
say
a warrior
Fortress,
in
but
10 years. That's like Arcanite the hero.
yeah.
But you think you'd be a warrior or a guardian?
Both warrior guardian. Just
Warrior
give them both
Guardian.
tags.
Yeah, give them both.
Man,
Yeah,
They
why
can't
not?
do that.
the most broken wizard weapon ever came out in Everfest as well. That's crazy.
Kraken's Aether Vein.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
that
can
set
talk about
was
that card later. Something's going on with that.
yeah, something wacky is going on with that card.
Something's going on with it.
Speaking of other staffs that are broken but not from Everfest, Surgeon Aethertide should be on everybody's list. And crazily enough, it actually went up even more than the last time we could have talked about. It is a $11.50
Whoa.
Majestic. Yes.
Mhm.
Surgeon Aethertide is slowly becoming the prime weapon choice of Verdance, and there are plenty of combos we'll talk about later that revolve that weapon. In terms of like smaller range combos, up to 20 damage ceilings, 26, all the way up to 50, depending on what the hand is and what kind of setup you have. And so
3 months snapshot. Lowest sell price, 22 cents. Highest sell price, $12. What
Yep.
the actual what?
Yeah. That went from meme
What?
tier to
Where's your stack
Like-
of Surge Aethertide? You could have been buying them for $1.
do you know what's
You
what's
first.
crazy about the Surging Aethertides is how much Dynasty I've opened, right? You'd think I'd have, I don't know, like a wall of Aethertides. And I think I have like a few of them,
I have 2.
but believe it or not, I don't have that many Surgeon Aethertides. It's not
Nah.
a card I put on my I better buy it in bulk ratio type
No,
card.
I have a homie who the second we saw Channel Millennium Tree bought up every single Surgeon Aethertide that he could find. Didn't matter the price. Just bought them all.
Good. This is how you do it. I'm telling you, Fab
Like,
is a
We saw the
Peaks and
tree and I
valleys.
was like, they're not going to give her the stat. Like, that's a good enough spec.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
This is making Taylor Crawford's investment in Channel the Bleak Expanse look pretty good too. All this like amp
I was-
and draw card stuff that's going on.
I promise you, and I'm also trying to pseudo do it on the side. Channel the Bleak Expanse is going to slap everybody in the face, and they're going to be like, "That's really a card. It really
We're going to
existed."
get Ice Hero that plays
when
it.
when
and-
Ice
yeah.
comes back, oh, dude, everybody's going to be like, "No way!"
And
that's
since like fusing is going away as well, because like notice all the new heroes, they don't really fuse.
Mm-hmm.
Like the reveal clause on it is not a downside for your deck anymore, and you just get to smack people with it and just make their deck not work. Oh, that sounds fantastic.
I am
can't wait.
waiting for someone. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the combo in a little bit, but I am waiting for the big thing that's going to happen at Chicago to get totally stuffed by a Channel the Bleak Expanse played at instant speed by an Icelander. That'll be
The one
sweet.
of, just get the one of. Anyways, but yeah. So what else is going on?
Eloquent Eulogy, part the misfail.
Mhm.
Eloquent Eulogy should be on everybody's radar as Vincent gets more playable, and Rune Blades in general have gotten quite a big sort of helping hand from this recent set. It's at $10 a card. I mean, that's not necessarily, well, I mean, it was down to $1.32 in August, late August. So it's definitely found its stride, 451% increase over the last month. This card is now starting to find its way into decks. I think it's a great card. Having access to an Eloquence token feels good. And Vincent is probably primed in some cases to make a great showing. I feel like Redline Vincent was already finding its stride, and the new additions of these cards with relevant on hits, if they can find a way to squeak it in between the whole Rune Gate play style, as well as we'll talk about later, banishing cards to kind of ping yourself down below Verdance's life gain, and maybe pairing that even with the Reaping Blade to really hamper your opponent. So I feel like there's going to be some cool ways to kind of incorporate that banish effect in a positive facet. Face Purgatory is also really nice, and I feel like Vincent uses it really well in terms of being able to block out but gain a card back to still have some semblance of a turn. So it feels good. Eloquent Eulogy is a feels good card.
I mean,
Vincent's in a pretty good
it's
feels
Rune
good
Gate
position.
1, which was a mechanic that's so strong that they were worried about even giving Vincent a card at first with Rune Gate 1. After they seeing her
Good card.
be very lackluster, they printed it for her, and it is the first edition you put into the deck. Like, those are the first 3 cards in a Vincent deck. The second 3 cards is probably Funeral Moon, which grossly abuses the Eloquence token.
Good cards. We like those cards.
Also, being able to instant speed force through a rune chant against Enigma is sweet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's Shadow Rune Blade. You play it at instant, you say ping myself for 1 life, and then all of your ward goes away.
Yep.
Feels good. Again, I think Vincent's primed to make a good run and a good showing this format. More Runeblade stuff. It seems to be the season of Runeblade. There's some wizard stuff coming. Don't worry about that. A couple of cards just to mention in passing. But Mordred-Tide. Mordred-Tide is from Arcane Rising. Older set, either that or History Pack. It is a Majestic. The thing that makes this card kind of crazy and why I feel like people should really pick it up, although I guess it is steered more towards Viscerai, the way that it plays in terms of it makes that many rune chants +1, and then his effect kicks in, so you make that many +1. But Florian kind of does that too. Not necessarily certain if it's going to find its way into Florian just yet, but that math adds up. I mean, making rune chants, then making rune chants +1/+1 for Florian's effect does seem pretty good. The thing that does scare me is, like I said, this card's a Majestic from Arcane Rising. The reason that scares me is it was back when they were super rares, and there was very few Majestics you could open from a box. You got to understand, Arcane Rising is quite hard to find. So these are at $9.50, which I actually think is criminally low for this card. If people find a way to abuse it and incorporate it into more than just Viscerai, you will see that card shoot up. That is not a card that's easy to obtain, especially in Rainbow Foil, especially in first edition, but even in Unlimited. It's not like there's that many boxes of Unlimited Arcane Rising floating around. So unless you want white border cards, you might want to pick these up. To give a nod to Wizards, we got to talk about Scour. There's plenty of auras and targets in the meta. Scour is on the map. It should be on everybody's radar. It should be in everybody's mind. It's up 307% in the last month. And for a good reason.
It's so tilting.
It is such a beautiful foil, though. I love that card.
Makes me so angry when I have like 4 or 5 shackles out, and Verdance is just like, "What shackles?"
Right. Or you're like playing a Malefic incantation, and I just say no. You just play that thing out. You felt really good about it. You had 2 charges left on it. I'm excited to make 2 more rune chants. Nope. They're gone. Love that card. Good card.
Scour also from Everfest, crazy enough.
Banger set.
Another banger card from it. And that's at $5, roughly about $5-6 with shipping. But I do expect that to go up if more Wizards can fit in. It's a blue block 3 with a very relevant effect in this set, depending on who's sitting across from you. Another card, wizard related, we're going to mention in passing, Dynasty set, favorite set of mine. Mind Warp. Mind Warp shenanigans are at an all-time high, so you might think, well, how's my balance going to work? Nobody draws cards anymore. Just Mind Warp them and then break your balance.
So I know we said we weren't going to read out cards, but Mind Warp is pretty obscure. This is the yellow 3-block wizard card that has Surge that deals more than 2 damage. Your opponent discards their hand and draws that many cards +1.
-1.
-1. Sorry, it's like collapsing trap effect.
Yeah.
So
really good.
It's a good way for wizards to try to play a little bit tempo oriented and keep a person from having a big turn, right?
We tried making that card work so many times. You just couldn't. Now you can. It's great.
Yeah, because of all the amp. And then also there is some funny synergy with Balance of Justice. Balance of Justice is usable into all matchups if you're running Mind Warp, because as soon as it hits, if they discard their hand, then they've drawn 2 cards and you can break it and re-arsenal a card. I think it's just mainly good because if you're playing up as a wizard, if you're playing against these decks that want to do 5-card hands, you've got 3 ways per game to stop that 5-card hand.
It's a great card. We'll talk about it when we get to the heroes, but it's a good card right now. Real good card. I think it's a windmill slam in both.
It's like
wizards.
a required card in Acilio. I don't even think you could play them without having a set of 3 of those in your deck.
You could, but you are much worse.
What's next?
Just one card that I want to note on, because I think people are going to try and fit it in this meta, and that's Exude Confidence from Monarch. I think this card is it's a generic card, so it fits in multiple decks. But what makes it so good is when it isn't defended by a card with equal or greater attack, the defending hero can't play or activate instants or defense reactions. Not mainly for the defense reactions, but more so for the instants. There are quite a few instants. Exude Confidence itself also has an instant caked into it where you could pitch 3 and Exude Confidence gains +2, which you can only activate while it's attacking. It does block for 3, but it costs 0, so it's 0 for 4 that blocks for 2. With a pretty stifling effect for some heroes that want to hold on to their instants and or try and play at instant speed on your turn, and they can't respond to that card in that way.
I learned something just earlier this evening while watching Justin play. That's for the whole chain. So if you don't get to use your defense reaction on the next chain link either, that you're just locked out.
That was the card that Briar and all those decks used to run against Old Him to like stop you from Crown of Seizing. So you were like locked in to this one turn of just like you can only block 12.
Yeah, interesting.
Like it was very common to go like CMH, do stuff, Arsenal Exude, use Exude as your snaps target, and then just like Old Him can only block 12 that turn. It was guaranteed. And they would just hit your face.
Go again on it, right?
No, but you pop your snaps or have an embodiment of lightning. You were Briar. You had plenty of ways to figure that out.
Man, I wish I could run Exude and Dash.io.
Nah, you don't need help with that deck. That deck is crazy.
It's still hard to get past all the Earth Wall.
We'll get there.
Was that your last one, Noah?
And then that was the last one of like fun, cool, speculatory sort of things. The 3 I'm going to mention in terms of meta defining, like meta hitting cards, Warmongers, you need to have them for Pro Quests. Don't sleep on them.
So expensive.
Erase Face is probably going to see a little bit more play. It hits classes and talents. We'll see about that. But
if you are a budget player, get your Erase Faces. I am cutting CNCs from lists rapidly, and they're being replaced with Erase Faces.
That works too, budget wise, and as well as what you're also saying. How do you CNC an instant in Arsenal? Right, doesn't do anything.
Or
so
how do you CNC Crown of Providence being everywhere?
Right, and since Balance of Justice is not going to be the first rate with the draw. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And that's actually a great addition. So yes, Erase Face more relevant on hit than CNC. Last but not least, weakest link. There are tons of no blocks. The sigils don't block. Most instants don't block. The transcendent cards don't block. There's root cards don't block. Weakest link. You gotta have them.
I just realized Erase Face works on news attack reactions.
It works on so many things. It
Yeah,
shuts down
she does
mechanologist
assassin.
turns.
Yeah, because they call it specifically Mystic or Assassin.
Yes,
Mhm.
they do. And she
Oh,
will
thank
not
God.
be.
Okay, I'm running Erase Face.
Yes,
I love that
yes.
card.
I'm telling you guys, erase face
Yes.
before.
Yes.
And I do have quite a few erase faces. So I've been holding on to those for quite some time. But yes,
Yes.
erase face. Get your weakest links. Weakest links are $50 a card for non-foils. $70 for foils. And I promise you that can go higher. Warmongers were 70, and erase faces, which it won't let me load them because
They're like $10 each.
yeah, they were like $10 each last I checked, which is
Yeah.
cheap. They will probably go to 15, 20. So, but that's what I got for the market minute. Buy your ice cards. Don't be foolish. Buy Guardian right now. It's really low. And if you didn't buy a
Guardian.
heart, if you didn't buy a heart, I feel bad for you. It's sitting about 375 and it will go above 400. Which I'm happy because my heart was losing value by the second. Now it's back. Thank you, Verdance. Thank you,
Sucks and
slower
Verdance.
meta and Verdance. I
Sucks and
appreciate
Burdens
it.
changed my mind. Anyways,
But yeah, let's carry on with the big Rosetta heroes and the winners and losers, right? Like what? Who
So
won?
yeah, so Rosetta releases, I guess, as of when this podcast hits YouTube, Rosetta will be releasing the next day. And
I can't believe it's already here.
like,
Thank
what are the
God.
winners and losers coming into this? So clearly the ban books incident is going to like really hurt Kano. And when you look at it, they're like, hey, we were going to do these at the beginning of October. It kind of blows my mind a little bit that they even considered letting Cilio have Tome of the Aetherwind in his deck.
they were gonna let calling Leon happen. Leon.
Yeah.
The European calling. They were gonna let that happen with all the books in play.
That was going to be the most degenerate classic constructed I think we had ever seen. I think it was going to be
Yes.
worse than what we've seen in like Living Legend occasionally. Because
That would have been heinous.
dude, the boots for both the Lightning heroes, they just run Tome of Findle for free.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Oh, good riddance. All the books are gone.
I'm so sad.
I don't think Kano is ever going to be at the power level he was at with Tome of Aetherwind
No.
and Tome of Findle. I think he's still playable, but you're not going to see him being like that top meta pick. Because
No.
I think for the past almost year, the only reason to not play Kano is because you couldn't. Like, he's just a difficult hero to play.
So, he also was like, even when you're playing him at a high level, he was a solid hero, but never the best hero in any format. Because over a 14 round event, you're going to have one round that you're just going to lose to your deck. Minimum.
Yeah, you just draw all your reds at the
Yeah.
start and you
Yeah,
flip
or,
blues
like,
every time you pitch a blue. And
You don't see Wildfire or Blazing. They're in the bottom 30 cards of your deck. No
Mhm.
lessons, whatever. Right? Like, you're just going to have games that like you lost to your own deck. Now, because obviously I'm a Kano player, I love this deck. Now I think you just have to go full tempo. We were only stacking, so the tomes, losing your tomes really hurts the stack package. You don't have that anymore because you just essentially needed to draw a bunch of resources to do the thing. You don't have that anymore, so now there was a way to stack with Edict and Wildfires. It wasn't very good, but you were really only stacking new. Everybody else you could just tempo kill. New equipment makes it to where you cannot stack them that way, because they AB the first Wildfire, then they spell void it. The first Wildfire hits for like 1 sometimes. And we were mathing it out. You end up at like 39 damage. It's literally like one off. And yeah, so because of that, like Kano went from having a 60-40 into new into like a 10-90. Where like I don't know how we beat new right now. I really got to work on that matchup.
yeah,
But
the new assassin equipment's very, very strong.
It's so oppressive.
You can AB 1 and then sack it spell void 1 on the same instance of arcane damage.
That equipment's fantastic. I mean, not
And-
for wizards, but it was designed for a reason. Obviously, a lot of arcane damage.
Just designed
It's
because
super hateful. I hate that.
Because-
I am
Mr. BG likes his assassin class. He's been slowly ramping it to be the most versatile, powerful class in the game. So I'm fine where assassin is right now. We'll see.
Feels
Maybe
good.
new is too strong, but I think assassin feels good at the moment.
She's got a caveat. She
I
needs cards
don't-
in hand. She's
I
not.
don't like new.
She's not the
Does
best on
she?
2 cards. She.
Codex,
I mean, with a
go get
tunic
leave no
counter, a
witness.
bonds of agony, and a just a Nick, you're just like have the most disgusting 2-card hand ever.
Yeah. Like, yeah, she has like, I don't know. I'm a new hater. I really don't like the design of new, but it is what it is. Other podcast hosts would kill me for that. So miss you, Donnie. But but yeah, so Kano is not happy about the books being gone, but he's now like a tempo-y blasting wizard into everybody, and that's more fun. So I get to blast people again. I just don't have a way to beat Enigma or new at the moment.
Viscera and Vincent got like some serious upgrades out of this set, and I think a lot of people are arguing that Vincent might be the biggest winner of all the rune blades. Florian might still be end up being the strongest, but like the level of where Vincent was to where she is at now is just night and day. Like she feels so much better to play because you've got Dirge from extra rune chant generation. You've got Cussing, which synergizes really well with her hero power, because you activate her hero power, the rune chant's unavoidable, the Cussing gets popped, and then you have 3 rune chants ready to go with your second attack if you have go again. You've got Succumb to Weakness, which reads like a custom card.
Succumb is so good. It does everything that she wants.
Relevant on hits in Runeblade. Like, let's be real. Like, actual things where you can't just go, so it's arcane damage. Like,
and technically, Vincent plays Succumb the best, right? Because she could force the rune chant through. Where if you're playing against a hero who loves to pitch into the AB and just block you out so you have a bad turn, Vincent can actually like get through that where no other heroes can. So man, Succumb to Weakness, Succumb to Temptation, really strong. If you haven't seen it, it says if you've dealt arcane damage this turn, you could play this as an instant. If the next Runeblade attack that hits Runeblade attack action card that hits this turn, you have to look at their hand and make them discard a card. So it's a Thought Seize, like from Magic the Gathering. On top of that, it has go again at the bottom. So if you play it as an instant, it gives you go again, so you actually get an action point. So it has just built-in spellbound creepers. And it blocks 3, and it's yellow.
And like it does everything. The card is insane. It's one of those cards that we're going to be complaining about from now until the end of time.
Dude, it could be blocked 2 in red, and you'd still play it.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd play 2, but yes, you still play it.
Yeah.
Another
cool card that there's a lot of cool factor cards in this Rosetta set. Another cool card is Call of the Grave. When I first read that card, I was like, this seems like a cool Levia card. And after some playtesting, it is a very cool Levia card. You played Call of the Grave?
Walk me through it.
Okay. So let's not forget about the toolbox aspect of it, right? Very strong to just tutor a card out of your deck, even though it's going into your graveyard. Tutors can be innocuous now, but eventually be the most broken stuff in the game later. But the fact that there is a single card in the Brute class that just synergizes with this so well, and that's Beast Within. You play Call of the Grave, you rip a Beast Within out of your deck, it banishes a card from the top of your deck till you hit a 6, and then you put the 6 into your hand.
Does it say face up from any zone?
Yes.
What's the templating on Beast Within?
Anything but the combat chain. So you don't get it if you block with it or attack with it, but any other instance of it going face up, you get to go ham with it.
You get it.
Oh no.
So you turn off Blood Debt,
really
you get
good.
a guaranteed 6 in your hand. So, and like there's so many blues in Levia that feel bad if you draw them in multiples, but Call of the Grave never feels that bad, right? You play it, you get the 6, you replace it, and then you have the second one that you could just use for pitch. Like every other time you feel bad. And then you have these cool things that you could do on turn 0, where you can Call the Grave and get your Guardian of the Shadow Realm out of your deck. You put 2 non-6s into your graveyard, but you still did 2 graveyard fill, and now you don't have to run Shadow of Blasphemeth to try to get that Guardian of the Shadow Realm out, because you never want to play it from hand. You really don't want to put it in Arsenal. You really want it to be in the banish zone, so you get a free 1-card block 6 on your turn after you flip Consumed.
So
really cool card.
You can also in my dumb brain, because I like Shade and Death Hydra, you could just like run it as the one of, and because getting that card into your graveyard kind of sucks.
Yep.
Unless you're blocking with it. And now you just...
Yeah, you can rip a Shade and Death Hydra into your graveyard too. Against long matchups where you just want to make sure it gets in there at some point.
Yep. Yeah, okay, that card's really... That's a great Leviathan card.
And it blocks 3. So the opportunity cost...
Wait, what?
Yeah.
No way.
Call the Grave blocks 3. Pretty sure.
It has. It is a blue block 3. I actually think I have one. Yep. No, it does not. It does not. I literally have one in front of me. It's block 2.
Hey, I need that card.
If this was a blue block 3, this would be the most broken thing ever created, and it already is.
It could be broken later. Okay.
Yes.
There's one more interaction I want to mention with that card, and that's it turns assassins and rangers into potential toolbox decks because Codex of Frailty recurs from the graveyard. So you could just play Call of the Grave and you pull your one of out of your deck, put it into your graveyard, and now all 3 of your Codex of Frailties can hit it.
That's how you
I like the the back alley barkeep breakline.
Back alley breakline.
Yeah, I love that interaction because it's blink at home, where it's like because that card just reads when it's put into your banish zone graveyard.
No, any zone face up from your deck.
From your deck. Okay, so that's the key. Is that's from your deck.
Yeah,
you gain an action point.
It came out in Arcane Rising, right? So if you did a Kano activation and just flipped it face up, because no, it has to be a wizard action to flip it face up.
It would have been dash. Dash would boost it away.
It's just dash. Is she the only one who could utilize that?
Azalea could put it into her arsenal face up.
So
I don't know. Anyways,
but yeah, it gives you an action point, so you can Call to the Grave, rip a blue back alley break line out of your deck, and then get an action point. So it's like Blink, but not instant speed, but it does block 2, but it also takes 2 cards out of your deck.
But it kills the ALS loop, and anything that kills ALS loop at generic is a friend of mine. Love time skippers, love that card.
Yeah, so that is interesting that that every class in the game now has access to an additional action point if they wanted to put it into their deck.
Because say you're like Bolton and you don't run the blues for time skippers, but you need to deal with he deals with ALS loop in a different way, but like you get the idea, right? Like, or you're like Phi and somehow you get ALS looped, or like the best example, Azuri. Azuri doesn't run a ton of blues right now outside of like the good stealth ones, right? So there was a real cost of playing time skippers. Now you could just play boom, you're Called to the Grave, park it in Arsenal, do normal assassin stuff until it's time. They try to loop you, you say no, and you move on.
I think that's really interesting and possibly broken.
The Gottlieb was on another podcast and someone asked him what was the card that scares him the most from this set, and that was his answer.
Really?
Yes. But he also, I might be misquoting it a little bit, but it was like that idea. It was either like what scares him the most or what's like the most problematic in the future or something. But his answer was also, if we get to have fun with it for 5 years and then ban it, it was a good card.
That's true. Kind of like Toma Final, right?
Yeah, Toma Final and Art of War.
Design space limiting cards, because eventually you'd want some kind of a hero that works a little bit more in depth with the grave than just like a recursion card of a codex or whatever banishing. If they ever make a graveyard designed hero, that card literally, the card's cheating. I mean, like there are cards specifically in other card games that were banned for that very reason, because
already have a graveyard designed hero.
But
Necromancer, give it to me.
Necromancer would be cool, but we already have like Sandscour Great Bro Azalea is technically a graveyard designed hero, right?
Oh, Memorial Ground, the deck.
Memorial Grounds. So you can put Judge, Jury, Executioner, your one of Judge, Jury, Executioner into your graveyard, and then you could play it like 9 more times, 6 of those being with the aim counter guaranteed, right? Because you Memorial Ground, flip it off the top. Memorial Ground again. Dude, if you've ever been hit with that, like with a Deadeye attached to it, you're just like,
it's so obnoxious. I love it. I hate it actually. I hate Rangers in general, but it's very obnoxious. It's so obnoxious. So yeah, so Call to the Grave is a fun card. It's very, very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Another cool card in this set is Drink 'em Under the Table, another Betsy specialization.
So we had our armory last night, and Betsy won.
Really? I see. Okay, we tried to record on Tuesday. We had some issues.
Monday.
Sorry, Monday.
And I messed up.
Yeah,
so
today's
so
Wednesday.
this is what adds
Armory
better
Tuesday.
flavor to it.
And you were just like, no, it's not good enough. I was like, oh no, it seems kind of good. Is it kind of good?
No, I thought that card was good. I didn't think it was enough. And turns out if you just see 2 to 3 of them every game, it's good enough. So
you just kind of get a chain rolling, right? Where you're just oppressive, that you don't have to give up any cards. You're keeping 2 blues, and you're just like, you're either going drink them under the table pummel or drink them under the table with Betsy activation. And you're just...
Yeah. And that's the fun part with that card, is that you can wager it, leave 2 floating, and then they're like, that's a pummel in your arsenal. And then they have to decide, are they giving you the whole hand, or are they just taking the on hit and not fighting you over the wager?
Man, if you get pummeled by that card, I think you, a lot of times, you're just losing. Because the text on it reads, you make a wager, and
swing.
Whoever wins the wager draws a card, and the loser discards a card. So it's just crazy, right? You block with 1 card, you have a pummel in arsenal, you pitch 2 blues, you throw it out, wager it, pummel it, they discard 2 cards out of their hand, you get to re-arsenal.
Yeah, the re-arsenaling, the ability to then get that card back and play the 5-card hand is just is the icing on the cake. It's ridiculous value.
Yep, it's Betsy with that card. Like, she needs 1 more of those. She needs like another really good thing to pummel besides CNC that card and bet big.
Mm-hmm.
But she might be like a 6 pummel deck and just really in your face guardian, keep the whole hand, use the fridge to block.
A 6 pummel deck. What, blues and reds?
Yeah,
Are we going? Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, are we in a world where yellow pummel is coming out?
My favorite thing to run is
2 blue. Betsy's a deck of pitch 2 blue.
Yeah, so you're going to run like 30, 33-ish blues, and you're going to like rip the hand, block with some reds, and then keep the good reds and pummel some people. I think that's her that's going to be her spot. But I'm happy to see Betsy get some play. I might actually put that deck together. It did look kind of sweet. I do love me pummel. Now. I got a bunch of foil pink pummels that I need to play. So
pink pummels.
Dude, it's discard 2 and it comes in for 5. So you got to play them.
You absolutely have to, and you have to discard. We'll get to that at some point.
We do discard your cards. So, but yeah, so I was happy to see that. Like, Betsy's good, like good enough, like much better, right? Like that was a real card.
So I think the most powerful thing we've seen come out of Rosetta is Living Legend Verdants.
Yes,
I think that's the biggest winner. Like, she is obscene.
Do you want me to talk through it or you?
Yeah, you can talk through it. But just to give some context, in December, there is a Living Legend Calling in Chicago.
If this does not get addressed before that, I will be floored. Like, if this doesn't get addressed in October, when that scheduled ban and announcement or ban and suspended is, I will be floored. Because how it works is she gets to run Kraken's Aether Vein, which is an instant 3-cost wizard staff that says base deal 1, right? And however much damage it deals, draw that many cards. So this synergizes insanely well with Amp, right? So if you Amp it and you attack for 6 and all of it hits, you draw 6 cards. And then you can do this some more. So the idea is Verdance has a bunch of Amp sources that are really, really good, whether it's Rampant Growth, Channel Millennium Tree, Exploding Aether, like, you just have sources of Amp.
And once it gets ones, because the discard ones, if you hit for that, you just draw the card back anyway.
The discard. Oh yeah,
discard for Amp 1, like Arcane Twinning.
Yeah, Arcane Twinning, Photon Splicing, like just anything that has the word Amp on it, you probably just start, and that's like your deck, the beginning of your deck build. And then once you get all your trees out, Channel Millennium Tree, you get those out, because that card set doesn't care whose turn it is either. So you just end up drawing your whole deck, and then what you do with that at that point is your choice. Do you want to do Rampant Growth, 80 Arcane over the top? Sure, you can do that. You want to do Fire Breathing for, I think the biggest Fire Breathing I saw was 87. There might have been a bigger one, but I saw an 87 Fire Breathing.
Because
and I was like,
Thrive,
okay.
Right? Thrive, the new card from the first strike deck that says anytime something gets power, it gets +1 extra on top of that.
Yeah, and so because each instant on Fire Breathing amplifies it, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's heinous. And the issue is for me is that it takes almost no setup. Like you tap out once and then Verdant just does the thing, and then all of a sudden they've snowballed so hard you can't do anything.
And I've seen them I've seen a successful keep of a tree with 3 counters, 2 counters, and 1 counter before.
Yeah.
That means they had 6 earth cards pitched.
Yeah. Like, and it just does too much. It's way too strong.
You forgot about the memeiest of meme combos. Like 3 brainstorms, break Hope Merchant's Hood, break.
Oh no!
break Potion of Luck.
Oh no! Is that even meme? That's just real, right?
I mean, it's a little memeier than. I can't believe I'm saying it's a little memeier than fire breathing, but
yeah, fire breathing's.
I think fire breathing is probably going to be the most consistent. In my testing, I've like been trying to play RuneGate chain into that, and I'll be buzzing along, and the Verdants will suddenly just go, well, now I have 2 trees out, and I'm going to amp it a bunch. Kraken's Aether Vein for 12, and I'll go AB3, and she'll be like, cool, draw 9 cards, fire breathing you for 30. And then even if she does fire breathing, she goes, draw 9 cards, scour all of your shackles and rune chants away. And I'm like, God, I'm back to turn 0. Yeah.
It's heinous. Man. The deck is insane.
So, I don't want it to be banned. I want it on camera. I want someone to go draw 15. And I just want to see their giant hand of cards on the hand cam. And then Brian Gottlieb has to be the person in the booth going, that's not right. I just need that. Don't even interview the person who wins the match afterwards. Just interview Brian Gottlieb and be like, what'd you think about that match, Brian? How
do you remember? Go ahead. You first.
Well, I was gonna say, you get to the calling, and he's like, oh, the living legend gonna be a lot of like whimsy and tons of heroes, and he looks at the pool, and he's just like, it's Kano and Bert. He's like, where's everybody else?
You want to talk about something? Yeah, go ahead.
Then it finally hits. He's like, this is strange. No Shane, no Starvo, no Icelander. And then all of a sudden it finally hits. Like, oh no. If the banned and suspended announcement on October, the backdrop isn't Kraken Aether Vein, I'll be surprised.
The first card officially banned in Living Legend, my guess is it going to be Kraken's Aether Vein.
It has to go.
Could you kill the tree?
You could restrict the tree. I think that is a good thing to do too.
No,
but that is way less. I mean, because Surgent Aethertide is still probably a really good deck.
Probably.
Kraken's Aether Vein's broken. Like
Kraken Aether Vein's broken, but it doesn't play the way that it's intended to play. Like I don't think they intended fire breathing for 81.
Well, you can see Icelander, like the Blitz Icelander deck when she first came out. You would use Kraken's Aether Vein to be like, oh, I drew too many blues. I need to like fix this hand and let your opponent tap out, and you would do the thing so that you could try to draw your way out of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what Aether Vein did originally, but now it's draw 15. And if draw 2 got banned,
yeah,
like just a little comparison there.
Draw 2 too strong, but Kraken's Aether Vein
on both turns, draw 15. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Nice.
Well, I mean, it's harder to do the big draw because Channel Millennium Trees at the start of your turn, I think, get amp 3. When it comes into play or at the start of or at the beginning of your action phase, get amp 3. But I have been hit for a Kraken's Aether Vein for like, what was it? I think someone hit me for 5 on my turn because they just broke their boots throughout amp 3 while shields down, drew a bunch of cards. So they just had this huge hand going into their turn, and then they just did it again, even bigger. Yeah. I'm excited to see, but you know what? I'm really excited to see like how people, how they build the deck to be the most degenerate possible. Like what's the most efficient degeneracy that we're going to see? And 2, how does the mirror match actually work? Like
I don't want to.
Who's going to win the mirror match? And also I want to see
Tome of Harvest. Tome of Harvest wins it. We'll figure it out after that. But yeah, so that's for LL. CC Verdant actually looks really cool. Surgeon Aethertide is really, really strong in that deck. It gives her good hand scaling. It gives her a thing to amp so that she can amp more. Before we saw all of her cards, I was really, really, really worried about fatigue. And I was like, I have no clue how you actually beat fatigue. And now that's like not the question. The question is, can I live long enough to get there, or something else? Like, if you try to go long with Verdance, she is going to run you over.
It's so interesting because it literally uses healing potions, like a card that like has never really been played at all.
And Fork Lightning is the only like deck that uses Fork Lightning well now, and that's awesome. I love that card. Because
I think your video lagged for a second, Justin.
Oh yeah.
So to repeat yourself. I think you probably came through the audio in the background, but I didn't hear you.
Yeah, but she's also a deck that can use Fork Lightning as like a one-of combo piece to where like, because you amp the Surgent Aethertide, and then the Surgent Aethertide, the way that it's worded, allows it to buff both sides of Fork Lightning still.
Wow.
So that's the one thing that still interacts profitably with Fork Lightning. So you can amp so like Healing Potion is just as gain 2, go again. So you can break all those, do some fruits, rampant growth to amp up your Surgent Aethertide, and then just throw out the Fork Lightning and kill people. It's like,
yeah, and it
it's
plays
like
really
80-something
similar
damage
to like Kano's combo setup, right? Except it's a little bit more on the board. In some ways it's more consistent, but a little less explosive, and it has to be like fully set up to actually do like kind of OTK. You can't just lucky rip it off the top like Kano can.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, this is like a setup second cycle plan. If you enjoy doing the stacking thing in Kano, but you don't want to do like the book memorization, you just want to memorize 5 cards and like draw them exactly, the Verdance thing might be fun for you. But between that, so she looks really, really strong there. She has a little bit of an aggro problem, but I think that's both the Earth heroes, and I think that's kind of by design. But like, she looks really strong. If you want to go more than 6 turns, she is a very, very, very good pick. She scares me.
Florian's kind of tough to kill. That new chess piece is crazy, by the way.
It is.
Yeah, Snap bought that thing. I was like, we're not letting this one go by.
The first time you get blocked by a Warmonger's Diplomacy for 5, you're just like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, Florian, how much have you spent on Florian? How much time?
5. That's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah, how much time have you spent on Florian?
I think you lagged out a second again, Justin.
Oh no, I'm back now. I was asking, how much have you guys spent on Florian? Like, how much time?
I have been playing into him a lot. I haven't played with him a lot. But I've been playing against various lists from players from like the Card Guys Discord and team and stuff. So
yeah, he's overwhelming. He has a lot of ways that he can be built, but that's really cool because that means he's a hero that, if he's around for a long time, he's very adaptable to a lot of metas, whether it like speeds up or slows down.
I think that he's going to be a very tough hero to figure out the best 80, you know what I mean? But I think it's also, like you said, situational. I think there's going to be times where you want a mid-rangey, times when you want him to take it long, but his numbers are just great. I mean, he has amazing life gain. He's sneakily just as good at gaining life, if not better in some ways. The way Germinate operates with things like Thistle Bloom Life, the one that says gain how many gain rune chance based off of how much life. Like, there are just sneaky stacked up combos where you block relatively well. Earth has access to great 3 blocks. It's got good D-reacts. He naturally has good 2-card hands. His sword is really good if you end up just playing the sword. He's got access to great
Blade
weapons.
Is really good, and Reaping Blade is really good.
I was gonna say the suite of weapons that Florian gets to operate with, and still keep the same general game plan of having that Rune Blade juxtaposition with Earth is just phenomenal. I actually think he is 100% S tier, and he's a high pick for me to have a great showing in ProQuest.
You want to know what's broken? Activate Grasp with Arc Knight so you can Reaping Blade. 1 card 5.
Yeah, he has so many good weapons for him.
1 card 5.
Yep. No, it's gross.
Block down, do that over and over and over again. You're doing pretty well. Put a bunch of 3 blocks in front of people. Like,
it's really good.
Scares me.
Yeah,
he's going how good he's going to be.
I think he will be a good deck, especially once he gets figured out. I think right now we haven't really talked about winners and losers. Enigma is one of the biggest
I
winners
was
until
literally going to use that to segue, so you did it.
Yeah.
Enigma is
Yeah.
still going to be the deck to beat, and going into ProQuest Suite season, which starts at the beginning of October, I think everyone should have a reasonable strategy into Enigma, or you need to absolutely blast everyone else.
To me, the two decks that you need to have a game plan for are the two remaining MST heroes. People still love New. They're going to play New. And she's still very good.
Yeah.
Like, she is good. She is very adaptable. She is very strong. She does very powerful things. She just tells half the game to go away. And if you want to try and play a lightning hero, you're going to get put in a body bag by New. If you want to play a deck with strong blues, you're going to get put in a body bag by New. Like, that's a really good place to be. And then Enigma is Enigma. Like, right now, she lost her hard counter. Her biggest issue has always been like spiky damage decks. And there's a lot of like do 16 a turn decks, but not a lot of do 30 a turn decks, or like 1 to 2 turn decks. So she's eating pretty well right now.
Do we think, and obviously there's other dark horses, because I think Dio needs to be in the conversation as well. Well, at least when the Armory deck finally releases.
Yeah, she
and
flips over and
legal.
gets the Armory deck midway through the ProQuest season, which I personally find really frustrating. I wish they'd just release it before the season starts, or just say it's releasing after. It's really awkward right in the middle. I think she's going to be really powerful. In my play testing, she's got to find a way to consistently beat Florian. Florian is maybe her worst matchup that's going to be meta relevant.
Do we see another dark horse type Uzuri showing?
Max,
where Uzuri comes up and steals something?
Oh, no? Uzuri?
Came out of nowhere, took one. Uzuri still has good game into Enigma because access to pick the pieces. Ways to do that. Arsenal Disruption hurts a lot of the lightning heroes. He's got Banish for some of banishing the key pieces, although it kind of helps the earth heroes. I don't know if he has enough damage to take it over in the end. Do we see some kind of grind amount user?
I don't think so.
Is there a way that out of nowhere he grabs another?
Uzuri was a meta pick because very strong into Zen, because she just provided very consistent disruption. Zen is going to drop from being like almost 30% of the meta to only being like 3% of the 4%.
Meta. Borderline dead, by the way. That the cards from Zen
is good.
Zen is still good.
And if
all the MSC
Zen is still very
still
good. If you wanted to do Tiger stuff and you thought that was a cool thing to be doing, buy Zen cards. It's so good. It's still a good deck. It's still a very, very, very good deck. Fridge 7 and getting to do your thing. Yeah, 7 and do your thing. Still very strong.
Your Fridge 7 do your thing is still like over 25 damage. It's just not hitting like 40.
Yes.
After blocking 7.
Which was absurd.
Yeah. Chase a Tail, still a good card. You get to run Roar the Tiger and Maul and all those things. And Tooth and Claw, is that the one that the 0 for 4?
That card is really overrated if you actually play it in all its modes.
Yeah, and guess what? You're going to be playing it in all of its modes now because you're just doing Tiger stuff all the time.
I'm happy to see him go that way if he actually does go that way.
And it's flavorful. Like, that's where Zen should have been the whole time. Bonds was a little degenerate, and Art of War was degenerate. Let's get those out of here.
I think once the new Armory deck flips over, though, I think both Dash.io and Max become very meta relevant. You look at Fast and Furious and you think, not that big of a deal, but it really is. That card is so crazy. Getting the extra steam counter on a crank item is just huge in both of those decks. Max getting another piece of armor that gives him a giant fridge so that he could sit around and wait to get the mechanoid out. And we still don't know what the gloves are. It's driving me crazy. Please. Dude, I just want breaking scales. Give me breaking scales. Banish a card or two. Give me breaking scales effect with like what Battle Worn 1. And I'm done.
You're getting a Galvanic Bender reprint. You're going to like it.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want God, please don't just give Battle Worn 1. That'll be so sad. I'm just so excited. Because at the moment, I'm like, do we put fisticuffs into Dash.io? It might be worth putting fisticuffs into Dash.io. Not even exaggerating.
Force a boom grenade through?
Yeah.
That's a good point. I like that.
Force a heist. Like, you throw a heist, they can no longer, they have to put 2-3 blocks in front of it. They can't put a block plus equipment.
Yeah, that's good. I don't know. I think Dash. I mean, you're the Dio player here, but after the Armory deck, she's the deck. Like, we're all scared about Enigma right now. You want to talk about a deck that stomps Enigma? That's Dio. Dio can stomp Enigma.
From our like brief playtesting, I'm pretty sure it's not flattened, but I think it's very solid 60-40 Dio favored.
Yeah. And then if we're talking about new again, like new just needs to stumble once, which is possible. Like that's very reasonable for a new to do. And then you just run new over because
new's got to be a frustrating matchup though.
I'm not sure if Dio runs new over. I have to play test into that. Assassin's always a little scary.
I'm saying like if the new stumbles, I'm not saying consistently, right? But like you have a win con into new, right? The Earth heroes are probably problematic because they can go into a fatigue angle, which is something that Dio has always worried about.
That chest piece, man. If you can get enough damage through before they get 4 cards in the banish zone, but the fact that chest piece just says 4 Earth cards and vanish. Ooh,
yeah,
man.
and they're going to play 6 rootbound carapaces into you, and you're going to scream because that card's really good into you. So
okay, it is after turn 2. At first, it's just a 3 block that can only be used as a 3 block and doesn't actually serve their purpose. Because I have ran into them where they're like, oh man, and they're giving me rootbound carapaces with no decompose. I'm just like,
it's going to happen sometimes. You're playing an Earth hero, but yeah. So, but I do think Dio looks really, really strong. I have spent most of my time on these 2 lightning heroes. Acilio is the most fun I think I've had playing Flesh and Blood in a minute. But he has a disruption problem, but he does not have a fun problem, as one of our friends has said.
Yeah, he is very fun.
He is, if you like Lightning Greaves and you like Gone in a Flash and you like bouncing, I had a turn once where I had 8 cards in hand at one point because why not have 8 cards in hand? Like, you just keep drawing and recurring Sigil Brilliances and all these other things. Like, it's very, 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 very fun. He can zoom really, really quickly. He does a little bit of arcane, and he is an absolute blast to play. But
I mean, he's very much a rune blade. Like, they printed 3 rune blades in this set. Actually, they printed 2 rune blades, a wizard, and 1 guardian. Actually, in Rosetta.
Yeah. The joke has been I just like close my eyes and pretend he's not a wizard. I just read the lightning line because he's not a wizard.
And then just skip over the wizard part.
Yeah, just skip over he's just elemental. That's it. He's just an elemental hero. But he does do, like, Volzar is really strong. You need to play to Volzar at least a little bit. Strong. But you can't play too many spells. And the second you try to play too many spells, you realize you brick on them a lot. Unless you start running cards like Flash, which I don't really want to be running Flash. But yeah, he's fun. He's going to be the deck that I probably bring to Armories forever because he is so much fun.
All right. Well, at least we're off Kano for right now from Armories.
Kano's kind of just dead.
Now that we don't know that.
Yeah.
So I'll be exploring a little bit of most likely Aurora. But I can honestly see myself.
Did you commit and buy the cards? Are you?
No. I've got 4 cases coming. I'm sure I get some of the cards.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Dude,
Until you have the deck built, I don't believe you.
This is how it's gonna work. It took me forever to build Azalea, although now there's just too many fun heroes where I still think Azalea is fun. It's probably gonna be there. I enjoy the play patterns, but true to those play patterns of like stacking things out, Aurora's fun because I had a really fun time playing in pre-release, trying to methodically play the turns out as wide as possible. Felt great. Then Set's on the radar because I think she does the same thing except in a methodical fashion and gets the whole Rune Blade relevant on hits. And then Florian's in the mix as well because I just think that the math and the way that he can play a value game but in a different way just feels so great. Verdance is there, but I'm not a wizard player, and I just wonder how much wizarding you really need to do. I think it's just because it's completely out of my comfort zone. I read the wizard cards and like the instant speed, and I just like I don't know what to do. I just feel lost.
There's only one real instant speed, truly wizardy interaction, and that's if like you have a verdant. So say you go like Sigil, right? Like Sigil Solace to start your turn, right? You're gonna heal the 3, and then there's a verdance ping on the stack. And then you just respond to that one ping if you're trying to amp it up to something huge. But outside of that, everything is pretty face up, let everything resolve, do the next thing, let everything resolve, do the next thing.
It's like it's uncharted territory. All I know is that if I show up at a pro quest and I tell you I'm on Fi, that means I'm on Dory. So just go. But I can't beat Enigma's Dory. So the chances of me bringing Dory very slim because I know there's going to be Enigmas.
And you know who beats it? You know who can beat Enigmas? Aurora, and Aurora has been a lot of fun.
That is good against Enigma.
Is pretty much why I want to steer toward one of the Rune Blades in Vincent or Aurora. I feel like Florian would be the comfort sort of value-y turtle pick for me because I enjoy that kind of gameplay too. In a weird grindy, like I'm cool on playing 2-card, 1-card hands for the rest of the game and just like stacking value late game. But those are the two. So I will definitely be looking at deck lists for both Aurora and Vincent. Although Vincent's completely out of the play pattern. I haven't really ever played it and or used creepers, so it's going to be an interesting one.
Aurora is a drug. I am addicted to Channel Lightning Valley. I am addicted to making embodiments of lightning. I am addicted to Starfall. Like the
Snaps
build that
or
we
Greaves. Snaps or Greaves.
Both, but
I think
I play Greaves.
You could possibly run both. They both
like,
have their advantages, but Greaves gives you this like really busted turn the first time you draw Gone and Flash in 2 instants.
Did you catch Nathan's list? His very Cheerios rabble type Aurora list?
I haven't looked at it yet, but I wouldn't be shocked.
It's like, a very Cheerios red line, nine blues.
Oh, I think I'm playing 12 right now.
Yeah, it's gonna run low.
And he also has the Warmonger's package where he can actually side it in and not be hurt by it, which I thought was pretty cool.
So that was the cool thing that I was going to talk about with Aurora, how we talked about how Florian can lean from like mid-range out to like OTK, how he's like a very flexible deck in that direction. Aurora, to me, is the other direction where she can flex to mid-range because she still has like Starfall into 2 cost that she could do and like mimic that like disruptive KO pattern if you really want to like go down that route. Or she can just be like all gas, no brakes, and try to play a 4-turn game while still having this anti-fatigue package that's literally 2 cards in your sideboard.
Yeah, feels good.
If you're indecisive, Noah, fortunately, there is a resource for you coming up this weekend.
Is there really?
Yeah, we got Calling Sydney. And even though the calling itself is limited,
that's okay. That's fun to watch too.
By the way, a lot of the pro quests will be drafts. So if you're trying to like get an idea of what people are drafting, you might want to watch the day 2. But Battle Hardened is our first instance of Classic constructed after the release of Rosetta. Literally, it releases on Friday, and we have a Battle Hardened on Sunday. So it'll be really interesting to see if any of these Rosetta decks have a breakout and hit into top 8. The Battle Hardened.
Battle Hardens are always cool. I feel like they're less stakes, so people go out more and play test more on these. So I feel like it's going to be a good showing of different ideas. And I think that's what makes Flesh and Blood grow. The growth is in the playtesting experience and ideas. So people need to bring crazy things and try things out, not worry about the whole records and kind of let the rest work it out. So I'm super excited.
The only thing we have remotely considered as like a hardline fact of the meta is that Enigma is strong. Not even Enigma is oppressive. We just think she's going to be strong. I think that's true, but we have no idea where the rest of the meta is going to go. It's
the other issue right now. Yeah, Dude, there are so many decks I want to play right now. I don't want to be a warrior player. I feel so bad for warrior players.
Trust me, I feel bad too. There's going to be about 2 because there's things you're good against, but then there's a Nick, dude. Then there's a Nick, and there's also technically Victor if he ever just shows up again, which. They're really hard, and Josh likes to say the Earth heroes can't block well, but they kind of block really well.
They block weird, right? They have a bunch of 2 blocks, but once they get their equipment online, they're so good at covering breakpoints with the boots and the chest.
Right? Like, do they want to give you the hand? No. Can they give you the hand? Absolutely.
Yeah, they could just sometimes just look at the hand and be like, I need to get cards in the graveyard. Let's just reset.
Yep. No, it feels rough.
But yeah, I don't want to be playing a dual wield warrior in this set. I don't want to be playing Dawnblade Dory in this set.
It's okay.
Maybe
One day.
Bolton, but probably
One
not
day
Bolton.
she'll be playable.
Yeah,
No, I don't
Warrior.
think so.
Warrior just
Uh-oh.
needs some crazy juice.
Justin, I think you lagged out again.
No.
Oh, you're back. You're back. Your
he's
audio's
He's back.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Let's get
It's
out of here
okay.
before my thing dies
Yeah,
entirely.
before your internet explodes.
hmm
Okay. So, Noah, where can people find you?
At Big Max Fab on Twitter and twitch.tv/Big Max. So it's been a while since I've streamed on there, but probably sometime soon when Rosetta product comes in, I'll probably do some kind of an opening on stream, and then try and get back into the whole pack a day thing. And I still have those judge packs technically, just trying to get over being sick. Working on it. But I've got cold foil sink blows sitting in judge packs to open. I know they're in there. I'll find them.
Right, Justin?
Twitter is at X is at J_ADS5. Jevs on Discord. It might be Jevs. It's Jevs05 on Discord. That's where I'm at. And yeah.
You could find me at Wet the System Fab on Twitter and Wet the System anywhere on Discord. Just come send me a message, talk to me. I hang around on a bunch of different Discords. All right. Quick shout out to Donnie. Make sure you go read his series on fabric.gg.
Hi, Donnie.
Miss you, bud.
If you see people in the YouTube, including this weekend, on the Siblings and Cardboard account, it's probably not Noah. It's probably Donnie.
It's probably not. If I was on, you'll see me. There'll be packs and wrappers all over the place,
Right.
and it'll be real obvious.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week. And if you did, subscribe and follow, depending on where you found us, to catch us again next time. Until then, take care of yourself, and remember, we're all siblings in cardboard.
And just like this card, Call to the Grave, sends a card to the graveyard. When you get pummeled, it goes to the graveyard. It gets sent to the graveyard. I promise. I'll be watching. I'll be watching Battle Hard in Sydney. Better do it.